Let's go. How's everyone doing today? Sure everything's working right this time here. What's going on? Gosh, we have a lot to cover here. I want this stream to be about an hour, maybe a little longer though. So I have a lot to go over. So I want to kind of start this one rather quick. We're gonna wait for a second to let some people jump in, but I'm gonna get started on this one quicker than I normally do. There's a lot going on, guys. There's a lot going on. 2024 is going to be the most interesting year we've had so far. It's not even close. I have a lot to show you guys, so let's just get right into this. I don't want to wait too long here, so everybody can rewatch the beginning. So AMC, let's just start off with AMC real quick. AMC, Adam Aaron posted today. They're going to do their earnings February 28th, 5 p.m. One of the things he talked about is many people have wanted him to talk on issues, talk on this and that, and this is the only thing I have to say for AA. You know, it's like in the movement, you have all these people stop talking, and you have people saying, I want to hear more. So to me, this is the best way for him to do it as well. Just come out, wait, just stay quiet. We know every time he's been quiet, he's came out with a new revenue stream, distribution, sweets, popcorn, things like that. So I'm hoping this call, he says he has a lot to say. So I'm hoping this call he has a new revenue stream that he's going to let us all know about. Or a new distribution deal. Hopefully he's getting that done with that Megapolis movie. That would be some pretty big news here. One of the things that I wanted to point out today is Cinemark. They missed their earnings. They actually were negative 18 million in profit. But of course, somehow they still have a green day. AMC's beat its last 11. And it was profitable during some of those quarters, and the stock continued to drop. So, just goes to show you, fucking the gong show that's out there, my friends. One of the things I want to show everybody, AMC is doing a Nickelback movie or a documentary, it looks like. Looks like it's March 27th. I just want everybody to be aware about that. But yes, this is sweet. I mean, we're still doing documentaries. No, this isn't a big, massive movie. But this is still stuff, you know, a step in the right direction. It looks like a lot of people are doing documentaries this year, and musicians. Eminem actually is going to sorry, give me 1 second. Oh, he's in my shoes, man. Sorry about that. So Eminem, sorry, it's just distracting me that whole time. So Eminem here is doing a documentary called Stands. Hopefully AMC distribution can get a hold of that. I know this should do very, very well. Eminem, man, he's a legend. I think he's one of the greatest of all times. I think this will do very, very, very well. Hopefully AMC can get the distribution deal to that. But one of the things I want to show everybody here is, you know, everybody talked about movies are going to die and streaming services are the way to go. But so Netflix had to add, if you guys didn't notice recently, if you had Netflix, they actually added commercials. And they're going to keep on raising prices and keep raising prices. Now, one of the things of these streaming services is they were supposed to be better than cable. You weren't supposed to need as many. They weren't going to have the commercials and all that. Well, guess what? Buddy, give me my shoe. I'm sorry. So now you're seeing commercials added to all of those. Gosh, buddy, stop. No. Hold on a second. Give me a second here. He's out of control. Had to go hide my shoes. Apparently he just really, really, really wanted my shoes. Stop. Please, baby. No, relax. Misbehaving. Okay, sorry. Hopefully that's done. So now you're seeing them add commercials. Paramount's actually, they tried to talk to Comcast. They've been going around talking to everybody they could possibly think of. They've talked to Peacock, Apple TV Plus, Max. They're going around right now. This just came out. They're still trying to actively look for a new person. Stop, Murphy. Hey. Stop or I'm going to go get your little beeper. It's enough. You know how to behave. Quit it. All right. Sorry about that. So now they're trying to, you know, they're going around. You can obviously, these streaming services are having tons of problems. You're seeing they actually added it to Prime Videos as well. They added a whole bunch of commercials. So these guys, they're basically becoming cable. You're going to end up needing a whole bunch of them. And these guys are going to have a lot of problems because now what you're starting to see, as we'll get into later, it's getting insane out there. The way the U.S. economy works has officially just broke, and we'll get into it here in a second. There's a metric that just came around that when that happens, it's over. There's nothing these guys can do at this point to save it. So we'll get into that in a second here. They're going to either have to... we'll get into it in a minute, but let's just say it's getting nuts out there. But back to some other, more important stuff going on. So Jeffrey Epstein victims are now suing the FBI, alleging a cover-up by the organization to protect powerful American individuals and businesses. And this is one of the things I was showing you guys forever with the JP Morgan thing. They had 5 executives that they were basically in communication with. They were working with all of these people. And obviously when it comes to JP Morgan, the second they were going to get prosecuted, Biden went down to the Virgin Islands, and next thing you notice, right after he leaves, the girl who was prosecuting him, as we all know, got fired. So there's a definite cover-up, but now you're starting to see these people sue them. And what's going to end up happening, and this is what I don't want to happen, and this is what I want everybody to do. Make sure everybody knows that this is going around. Spread this around. Because I don't want this to happen again, where the 3rd time now, these victims just get a small settlement and nothing happens. No jail, nothing. That's about what's going to happen again. The FBI knows they're going to lose, and they're just going to settle for another. They did a $78 million one and a $225 million one or whatever. Now the FBI is going to give them another 50 to 75. This is insanity. They should not be able to just buy their way out of this shit. They're covering... Dude, this is insane. Make sure this gets out. I don't want the... Like I said, if there's one thing as a parent, man, you want to talk about, child sex trafficking, that shit really gets me pissed off. So I don't want this shit to die. So please share this. Don't let these guys just get a small settlement. We need fucking action on this. But let's get to more things, because we went over this for a small second with Peter, but it's getting more interesting because now you have Citadel suing the feds. They're trying to sue them over implementation of the CAT system, how they're going to pay for it, and the tracking of this. Now, one of the things that I find very funny and interesting about this is Ken Griffin says this is bad. They shouldn't be able to get information, track, but at the same exact time, what's Ken Griffin doing? He's buying, he's paying, he's getting information, and he's tracking every single thing as a market maker, as a hedge fund that they're able to pay for, this access to this and that. So he's pissed off. The SEC is going to be able to get the same information he's currently bribing and paying other people to get. I just wanted everybody so you all realize just how big of a fucking hypocrite this guy is. And he sits there and he goes, well, it's a privacy to retail. So what he's trying to do is say that it's to help retail. He doesn't think the SEC should know who bought what, when, exactly what person. It's privacy breach is his concern here. Well, isn't it a privacy concern and breach when? Do you guys remember when not only 2 weeks ago Citadel got caught being one of the people that was paying Goldman to fucking give them information on their clients? They were one of the people that got caught. So this is absolutely hilarious. He's trying to sue the feds now. He's talking about this guy. Like I said, these guys, their day is going to come because the system in the United States, their corruption, their crime, the only way it ever works is in the dark. The only way it ever works is behind closed doors. And the second more and more this comes out, there's nothing these guys can do about it. Now, I told you guys, I told you guys years ago when Trey first caught out all the shit. I was one of the people on Reddit that go, I can show you my Reddit account. I've done it many times, my first couple posts. I showed you guys exactly how to beat them. You take away, like I said, the second we start fucking these banks up, which these banks are done. I'm going to show you guys some reports came out these last couple days. Just how bad some of these banks are going to get. It's bad. And the government sits there and they're like, oh, this is a manageable event. It's not. You have banks out there, and I've been talking to you guys about commercial real estate for a long time. You have banks out there that have three times the total exposure in commercial real estate as they have total assets. 3 times. Which means there's no chance of survival. Because one of the things that I've been showing you guys that we'll get into in a minute is, what is the theme of this year? It's discounts for these buildings. It's discounts. And we're not talking small discounts. Remember last week I showed you a building sold for an 80% discount? It's getting worse. There's one that we're going to go over today. It sold for an 85% discount. Nobody has money. There's something that flipped that we're going to get into in a second here. And the moment this flipped, they have to make a change, or there's no saving this, and there's no hiding the corruption. There's no hiding this. Everybody, and what you're going to end up having is a riot, a mass riot, or people asking questions, and they can't the ones they can't answer. And the ones that we are answering over here on the sideline as the conspiracy theorists, as they label us. So, let's just show you another little thing quick. Former Kansas Bank CEO charged in $47.1 million embezzlement. This guy took money from his bank on a wire transfers, and it collapsed the bank. So this guy, so there's a lot of people talking about, he's only paying $1 million fine up to, but he's also looking at 30 years in prison. So he's not going to get it. We all know that. He'll get 3-4 years, which is bullshit. But this is the problem. Even if he goes back to it, I've been trying to read more into it. I don't know if he has to give back the $47 million yet. That's what I'm trying to find out. But, so I'm not going to report that he doesn't have to give that back yet because I don't know for sure. But I do want you guys to know that they are going after a lot of these people. Hold on. Where the hell is the other one? Well, whatever. I'll get another one in a minute. So they also raided HSB, UBS. In Korea, they're going after all of these people that are doing this illegal naked short selling. I'm going to teach you guys some naked short selling tactics here that the market makers are doing. And I'm going to show you guys exactly why they created the meme ETFs and how they naked shorted it. So, before I even get into stupid-ass Bezos. But one of the things you got to start looking around before I keep going is, what are these guys doing? Well, Jeff Bezos sold $6 billion in stock. Now, I'm going to show you why. I have a Bloomberg article showing you why exactly what's going on over there in Amazon, because here's the thing. I'm going to show you guys why this can't work, and you're going to everything's going to click after this video. You're going to go, okay, I get exactly what the hell you've been saying forever. Because it's to that point where it's not, it's beyond sustainable, where it's like, no, it's like done. It's like at that point where you've hit a brick. You're kicking that mountain of can I've showed you guys, and it's not even moving a millimeter anymore. It's barely moving. You can't even move this thing. We're getting to that point. I'm telling you, they will not make it past 2024. It's impossible. One of the things you start looking for is, if you have, I posted this earlier, if you have unusual whales, you can look at government flows, outflows. Tommy's a corrupt criminal. I've shown you guys plenty of things on Mr. Tommy here. He doesn't like regulation. He took his FTX bribe and ran away. He's against the transparency rule. Tommy is one of them. Tommy is a corrupt piece of shit. What I like to do is, I look for certain corrupt pieces of fuck, and then I only post when they sell. Because when they sell, that tells you something. The corruption always knows. It's like if you knew Pelosi was selling, time to go. Well, little Tommy boy here sold everything. Just everything. So Tommy boy's flushing it all out. He's selling everything he's got. Bezos is selling out. You got Nvidia selling out. Now, one of the things I've been showing you guys is they have been inflating books. Using shell companies to inflate books, using loopholes, gray areas. Well, guess what? Amazon's doing the same thing. What did I show you guys? What was Coke doing? Supply chain financing. Fucking Amazon's been doing it too. And guess what? When the economy starts to go down, it's harder to fucking hide this stuff. Now, hold on. I didn't do too well of organizing these. Hold on. Here you go. Moving it back up to Bezos. Now, Amazon. No, okay. I told you guys in December, that was our last hurrah. That was the last boom, and they didn't do anything to fix it or save it. And that was retail's last boom. It was our last hurrah. Everything we spent, plastics, everyone's plastics maxed. It's gone. Nobody's got credit anymore. Rates are still as high. Inflation's coming back up. So the feds today said, we can't wait until 2% inflation because to lower rates. But they're not going to they're not going to lower them still. It's going to be like 6.5 months, and they might lower it once to twice this year. They're never going to get back to 2%. It's already coming up, and they're going to have to fucking print. I'm going to show you something I'm just going to skip ahead. This is fucking insanity. This right here is insanity. The Federal Reserve, they finally did it. The top 1% of U.S. earners now have more wealth than the entire middle class. Holy fuck. When this happens, it's over. When your wealth gap becomes this, it's over. The problem is, we now have nothing. Nobody has money at this point. It's like they officially cheated, printed trillions. I told you guys, they not only printed trillions, they just gave it to themselves and then funneled it offshore. So they printed trillions, didn't do anything to save it. Now here's the problem with this. Here is why the United States is fucked beyond repair. And so when this happens, you have... How are you gonna... Here, look at my next tweet. And before I even get to that. Tell me how an economy works, you guys. Tell me this. How do rich people get rich? They don't spend their own money. And what do rich people do? They use loopholes, tax evasion. They do everything they can to not pay taxes. As I just showed you with Amazon or Microsoft got out of paying $30 billion in taxes over 8 years. They still owe almost $120 billion in taxes at that rate. So they don't pay their taxes. They do everything in the world to not pay taxes. Okay? So now, by doing this, you have officially, look, you've killed your middle class. It's gone. It's gone. You no longer have a middle class. It's poor and rich. It's poor, less poor, and rich. That's what you have. Now, the top people don't pay their taxes. How do you have how can an economy work if only poor people are paying it? They don't have enough. They don't make enough money to support what? You're fucking spending. You're spending. Your government fucking spending. Look what happened. I showed you guys this last week. From last week, 8 days ago. It's went up $140 billion. The national debt has went up $140 billion in 8 days. Where the fuck is this taxes coming from? On top of that, the interest rate is going up with that, and up with that, and up with that. How are you going to pay for this? What are you going to do? The only way to get out of this, at this point, is to do what? You have to either give out a stimulus. They're not going to do that. Fuck no. Or if they do, the problem with that is you give out a stimulus, and as we learned from the last stimulus, it makes the wealth gap even higher. Because they get more, and you get $1,400. So does a stimulus do anything? No. Not at fucking all. What do you need? You need a crash. You need a MOASS. You need something to stifle back your people. You need to somehow stimulate your economy. You need to somehow bring back the wealth of your middle class. Because they're the ones paying all your fucking taxes. Well, you killed them. You sit there and inflate
Everything. Everything. Now here, look at this. This shows you right now. I'm skipping all over and I don't give a fuck. I need to do it in this order at this point now. So, look at retail sales. I told you guys, we maxed. We maxed in December. And why did we max? And I told you guys, this is what's going to happen. If you're listening, I can't say this is a stock play because it's financial advice. How do I phrase this? I got cried at by all these little crybabies putting up, and then we're trying to report me for me talking about a firm. Now, a firm came out, and it's a Ponzi scheme, and I told you it's a giant Ponzi scheme. They know it's a Ponzi scheme when they created it, and they don't give a fuck. It was buy now, pay later, okay? They put it out, and they go, everybody, massive buy now, pay later. Because why? They needed everybody to spend on the holidays. If they didn't get people spending on the holidays, that would look really shitty. The true numbers would have came out. Everybody would have been pissed at Biden. Everybody would have been looking at the economy, and everybody would have been realizing really how bad it fucking is. Well, now everybody's maxed out their buy now, pay later. Well, look, this is exactly what I told you guys was going to happen. A firm lays off additional employees in Pennsylvania. As clients adopt, we bought now and we won't pay later mindset. That's what I told you was going to happen. Because what the fuck? The reason I knew that was a Ponzi, and the reason I knew they were going to let this company pump, take millions as board members, and then let it collapse, let it crash down, let it explode, and then go bankrupt. That's a key what I just said to everybody listening. People, I can't give stock plays, but I can tell you about circumstances and companies. You take that information and do what you want with it. But they reported mass revenues. Everyone's flying up. Look at how much profit they're making. They're killing it right now. Everyone's using buy now, pay later. And now what they're going to have to do is what a firm's going to have to try to do to save it. And they're going to package all these defaults. They're going to package them all up. Sound like familiar, like the banks. And then they're going to have to try and sell them on pennies on the dollar later on. And then they're going to try and stay afloat. But it's not going to ever be enough. A firm didn't do credit checks, and guess what they said? We don't affect your credit score. So in other words, they basically said to people, you can come here, buy something. We won't check your credit. You can just take a loan out on it. It's not going to affect your credit score if you don't pay it back. But we'll do what? Nothing. Because they're not going to come after you in small claims court and waste time going after a billion fucking people that are going to do it. And then it's going to explode. But they don't give a shit. Because what the CEOs are going to do is take all their millions and move on to their next company. They don't care. Well, now it helps out Biden. It helps the economy and the numbers all look good. Everyone's fucking jacked. Well, look what happens. Total household debt rose by $212 billion in the fourth quarter of 2023 to $17.5 trillion. Holy fuck. And most of this was by buy now, pay later. Well, it's going to be buy now, collapse later. A firm is not going to make it. And they don't care. And that was the plan since day one. But I promise you, each one of those fucking board members is going to walk out with over $40 million to their name. And they're not going to care. And no one's going to say anything. The people that will get fucked are the people that were chasing this in. The people that... all retail. Retail. Always fucking retail. So I fucking hate these guys. Fuck them. Save yourselves. I can't even say that. A firm, in my opinion, is a ticking time bomb. Well, now, January and February, I told you guys what is coming. Layoffs. Why did I tell you that? Because everybody's maxed in December. Nobody has a penny to spend in January. No one does. So everybody's laying off. Everybody's laying off. No one has money to spend. No one does. Oh, jobs are fucking great. Do you remember fucking Warren the other day? Everybody's feeling great about the U.S. economy. Retail spending again. Hey, bitch. Really? Hey, bitch. Are we really spending again? Really? Because according to the fucking numbers, where are my numbers? I'm getting frustrated because I fucking hate these criminal fucks that are our government. Retail spending again. Retail sales tumble to negative 0.8 to a forecast of plus 0.3. No one's spending anything because everyone's broke, everyone's maxed out, and we've tapped out everything. And now you're going to start to have the moment of layoffs and defaults. And this is what I was talking about with the price. I told everybody it would be smart. In 2022, I said, don't get a fucking house. And all these crybabies cried about it. Well, at the time I said it, rates were as high as they could possibly be, and the price of houses was $80,000 more than it is today. Well, rates you can eventually refinance. You cannot refinance that $80,000 price difference. So, I said, you're better off waiting until the price comes down because it'll come down drastically before rates do. And what do you know? Now this year, price is going to drop because you're going to start to see these defaults. But the problem is all these fucking piece of shit investor companies are buying up all the retail houses, the single family ones that I've shown you over and over and over. So now they're trying to pass a bill to stop it. But until the bill gets in, these guys are now going to pick up twice as many pennies on the dollar. So no one's going to get houses again. The price is going to, like I said, it's just a fucking mess everywhere you look. So at this point, you now have, we're going to get to AMC running everything. I'm going to get to the MOASS play. I'm going to get to everything I said I wanted to see before I believe we will MOASS. I've said this for years. I'm about to pull up my Reddit right now. I had the 8th playbook, play for play, written down on how we needed to win. And yep, it was going to take this because once GameStop happened, and for everybody that sits there and talks shit about AMC, all you GameStoppers, I will show you this every time, and I still have yet to see a rebuttal. Here's your fucking GameStop report. 850 million at risk was attributed to AMC, and 250 million was attributed to GME. In the report later on, it says they never fucking covered. Well, price action shows me they never fucking covered. Sorry, I've got to get that off my chest. Now, before we get to that, actually, fuck it. I'm just going to move on. I have so much stuff I want to get to, and I'm trying to get to it all fast because I don't have a whole bunch of time, and I don't want to make a whole bunch of small videos. So again, now you have an economy that has... So what the United States is planning on doing is they're trying to get the global dollar back. They're trying to get people to sell treasuries. And then they're going to buy those treasuries up pennies on the fucking dollar. So what they're going to do is print to buy their own debt. That is what the United States is going to do. I'm telling you that right now. They're going to print to buy their debt on pennies on the dollar. They're going to go the Japan route. And then inflation's going to happen. Even harder. And that's why the feds are looking over going, they just announced it. We can't wait for inflation to reach 2% before cutting rates. Because it'll never fucking get there. And it's like I said, it's already going back up. So now what are you going to do when you add that? So I want to show you guys a whole bunch of stuff with the feds here in a second. Because the feds they're panicking. They're fucking in panic mode. They are in panic mode. So before I even get, who cares about that? It's stupid. It's petty. Gives a fuck. So this is what's annoying. You have 16 firms that can't do their books. They had widespread record-keeping failures. They can't keep their books straight. And they pay 81 million combined out of 16 fucking people. SEC, go fuck yourself. Now, there's a reason why I want to show you guys this. because this is going to piss you off to all fucking hell. If there is something I would say we need to riot about, this is it. Here's where your taxpayer money goes. This blew my fucking mind. Like, I knew people said it, but I didn't believe it until now. So that fine of this 81 million, watch this. How 80 billion in corporate fines becomes a 48 billion in tax breaks. They get fucking tax breaks for fines because they do it. All right, watch this. This is the most fuck thing you're ever going to see. Watch this. Okay, so here's the rule. You are not allowed to use a fine as a taxable deduction, okay? So guess what the SEC does? They don't fine the fuckers. They call them settlements. They're settling with these firms. This isn't really a fucking fine. They call it charges. They're charges. They're settlements in these fuckers' eyes, okay? So the second they become a settlement, watch this. It's no longer a fine. It's an issue in the legal language of the deals and how they address what the authors call a gray area of tax code. Corporations are allowed to deduct from their taxable income all ordinary and necessary business expenses. But what they can't do is deduct penalties or fines paid to the government. But with large settlements, though, payments are often not a penalty or a fine, but they're a settlement for alleged misdeeds, acceptance, waivers, and consents. When that's the case, firms can write that amount off as a cost of doing business. Now listen to this. It's kind of a compromise, in quotes. Michael Circa, a tax and budget program associate at USPRIG. The corporations get to ultimately deduct these huge amounts of payments. The government's agencies get to advertise these huge top-line numbers saying that they're holding corporations accountable for their behavior, but the bottom line is the taxpayers fucking pay for it. For example, listen to this shit. Listen to why I hate JP fucking Morgan. I hate them. In 2013, JP Morgan Chase agreed to what was a $13 billion civility penalty, okay? They wrote off $11 billion of that as tax deductions. What? 11 billion of your 13 billion in penalties were acceptance, waivers, and consents and were able to be written off? Holy fuck! That's insanity! Look at this shit, and it keeps going. Now, I'm gonna show you something, and it's over for these fuckers. And AMC will win, and these fuckers are gonna burn in fucking hell. And when it happens, if this other path happens, because they're fucked in the ass. And I told you forever, they're praying to God to get these CBDCs in. And they're not going to be able to. But I'm showing you, I'm going to prove to you that that's their goal. That's what they're trying to do. And since CBDCs took a bad rep, they changed it to fucking tokenizations. And nobody bats an eye at tokenizations. It's a fucking CBDC. Now, look at how fucking deep this goes. I want you guys to see this. The Doge reached a $25 billion settlement with Ally, Bank of America, Citigroup, and JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo. 20 billion of that 25 billion was deducted. What? 20 out of 25 billion is a tax write-off of doing a crime? You can write your crimes are tax write-offs? Crimes are tax write-offs for them. I mean, if this isn't enough to riot in the fucking streets, $20 billion in tax write-offs for committing $25 billion in crimes? No, that's what they charged them. It was probably hundreds of billions in crimes, and you got to write it off as taxes. Holy fuck. But if you miss a fucking $10 tax payment, oh my God, you're done. This is insanity, dude. Here, read this. Everybody read this. Because I want to keep going, because there's so much more. It talks about the Glass Act removal, Citibank, how Citibank fucking removes it, and then the second they fucking remove it, Citibank gets just this massive part of the fucking 2008 thing, gets a massive bailout because they removed the act so they could go do crimes. And then they took all those crimes that they got charged with and wrote them off as taxes after they removed a bill to stop them from doing criminal acts. Holy shit. The level of criminal stuff going on is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. This is unreal. And then they sit there and go, it's okay. The poor will pay for taxes. Why we write off billions? Why we steal billions? How is this sustainable, you guys? It's not. It's not. When your middle class has less money than your elites now, you're done. So now, look at this. Now watch. And I've told you guys, this will be the bomb. They're done. I don't give a fuck. Everybody wants to know what bank, who's going to be that motherfucker that's going to be the MOASS starter? Because I don't give a fuck about a squeeze. Who is going to be the MOASS starter? We now know our answer. But before I get to that, because I'm already on this tab and this is insanely important, this is going to be the end of them right here. And I told you guys it was commercial real estate. And I want you guys to listen to this because this is from the feds. And then I'm going to go into the next thing. The feds statement came out. And I got to go into a couple of things and then I'm going to get into the bank. And then after that, I'll take questions. But I want you guys to listen to this. This is insanely, insanely, insanely important. A review by Bloomberg. This came out, what was it, 2 days ago? Yesterday. Came out yesterday. A review by Bloomberg found that 22, now listen to this part carefully, 22 banks with 10 billion, that's a huge number, to 100 billion of assets, okay, have commercial property loans 3 times greater than their capital. Now listen to this. The figure was even higher among banks with less than 10 billion that have 3 times the total number of their assets, which is 47 had outsized the profiles. They have 69 banks. Now listen, now it's going to go higher. They found, now the report came out, the numbers are even higher after this report. So this report found out 69 banks are going to collapse this year. Okay? Powell himself said that they were going to have a collapse this year from the commercial real estate. Now, I found this very interesting. Hold on before I get to this, because the next part's important. So, I want you guys to look at this. Now, this was when they estimated 560 million in commercial property loans. Now listen, this is important. 69 banks were failing when they estimated 560 billion. The updated numbers have came out. 929 billion now is set to expire. It is 28% higher than what they forecasted when they saw 69 banks were going to collapse. You now have 100+ banks about to fucking collapse from this commercial real estate. They were off by fucking just equating $400 million. No big fucking deal. Now, why were they off? I'm going to tell you why, and this shows you just how scary it is. The reason they projected that number was because all of those landlords, tons of landlords, went over and they readjusted their loans. So they went up to people and said, hey, I'll make you pay less. Just don't default. Just don't leave. Just don't default. I'll lower your rent. Even after they lowered their rent, that many people defaulted. That many people defaulted, left, are gonna, or can't pay their mortgage, are currently missing payments, and are just gonna default. An extra 400 million more than they projected, because people can't even pay the lower fucking new lower terms. That is how bad your economy is. And since your number of this is now this, you will no longer have any middle class opening up any new corporations, like I told you. Well, if no middle class is opening up new corporations, what does that mean? Offices are going to go down even harder than they expected, because there's going to be zero demand for them. Now, to show you what I'm talking about, remember that I showed you guys a couple weeks ago, this building sold at $85 or 85% off. Well, guess what just happened? Another building just went off, and it sold for 85% discount. Well, this is all super important too. I have so much shit to get into. I have a lot to get into. Okay, well, whatever. Another building sold for here you go. Another building sold for 85% discount. So the discount on top of these are going to be even harder than they thought. So that means these guys are going to be defaulting at a massive fucking level. You're going to have a ton of other banks now need to absorb all of this. Now they're going to go down. It is a catastrophic thing. They can't stop. How do you under forecast something by 30%, by hundreds of millions of dollars? They initially thought it was 600 million. They initially thought it was going to be 659, but it actually ended up being 929. Like I said, this is a big deal. You have $1 trillion worth. Well, guess what? You have over 1.2 trillion in commercial real estate scheduled to mature this year and next. And then I showed you in 2027, it's fucking like almost 1.8. They're done. Banks are done. This is over, you guys. It might take a year, but it's over. They're no longer going to be able to do it, because when this happens, guess what happens, guys? We're no longer putting money in. They're depositing money, aren't we? That means the bank's deposits are going to go down. That's how they make profits. That's their collateral. That's their everything. We're no longer getting loans. Less collateral. And that's what I told you. Now they have no choice but to start getting money from the people that owe them, which is called margin calls. And then you win. Now, let's get to the bank. Well, hold on, because I want to show you this, because to make matters worse, because this does involve what I just talked about. This year, 32 banks will be tested again under severe global recession with heightened stress in both commercial and residential real estate markets, which is different. They tested different year. Well, this is exactly what they're testing it on this year first. And they're like, oh, no worries, don't worry. It's not anything that's going to happen. But yet it goes down. If you go ahead and read this, and I'm going to post this out. It's a press release from the Fed. I'm not going to get super into it because I do have a lot to get into. But it talks about everything I just went into, and now it's gonna probably happen. Well, yeah, German banks brace for wave of bad loans in the greatest real estate crisis since the financial crisis in 2008. It's in everywhere. 4 more fucking countries just entered a recession. The United States. This shows you the cost of goods is going up, and we can't spend anything. Welcome to stagflation, people. You're going to have job cuts, stagflation, and now you're going to have no choice but to do deflation. But how are you going to do that? They said put loans out when everybody's maxed out. They're in such a bad place. Everything is so fucked up for these guys. It's not even funny. Now, let's get into the thing because I do want to get into this. So, reverse repos, this is a big deal. Everybody goes, why does reverse repos matter? It dropped $80 billion and dropped under $500 million for the first time since COVID. This is a huge deal. This shows you that the banks, all this excess liquidity that they have, all this excess free cash they can park, it's gone. They don't have it. It's going down and down and down. And the only reason that it's staying even this high is money market funds. So banks are getting fucked. They're having to use this less. They don't have as much to put in, and that hurts the feds again. And that means the feds are making less and less and less, which is why the feds are looking over going, all right, we need to get you guys under control. Now, the bank I want to talk about, the bomb, the one who's going to set it off, the MOASS, the one everyone needs to keep their eye on, Citibank. Really badly, we're going to break down some stuff with Citibank. Now, I've been showing you guys for months Citibank's in trouble. I showed you about how they're losing revenue. Showed you about their money laundering hard money laundering organization. Shown you all their job cuts. I showed you they had 20,000 job cuts last year. I showed you guys. They had 30,000 more planned or whatever. It's insanity. I showed you 2 months ago. They had another cost cutting program that was supposed to cut another $2 billion. But then when I showed you guys also, they have a giant severance problem coming right around the corner. Because a lot of people don't understand. See, what a lot of people don't understand, and, a lot of people aren't reporting on, they have $1 billion in charges that they're going to have to pay out in severances, you guys. You don't just get to fire all these people and there's no fucking problems. You're going to have this come due. You have a lot of problems coming over at Citigroup. You have a lot of things people aren't focusing on. Well, one of these things just happened the other day. It was super fucking eye-opening. Prosecutors, by the way, over in Korea, they went ahead and raided HSB, BNP Paribas. These are more people I show you over and over, criminals. Now, back to Citigroup. Citigroup, I show you all the time that they're one of the top four. I show you JP Morgan, all these guys. They have the top four banks have 200 trillion plus. I can't remember, it's like 210 or 3, something like that. They have 200, it doesn't matter, 200 plus trillion total and notional amount of derivatives. That's in fucking sanity. It's literally ridiculous how much they fucking have in derivatives. Now, their exposure to them isn't that amount, but it's an insane amount. I can't remember off the top of my head. I should have looked. I've shown you guys it before, but it's fucking to the point where they can't afford to lose any more of their deposits. And I'm showing you deposits are leaving like crazy. One of the things here is Citigroup has been, like I've been telling you guys, they don't have people, what they've been doing is open up these ISDA contracts, right? And this is what I thought Phase 6 was going to fix. They open up all these ISDA contracts, they don't collect the collateral, they do a credit support annex, and guess what? They don't have the collateral to back it up down the road. Well, here's the thing. All of this is done in the derivatives thing. Like I've been showing you guys for how long? I've been showing you guys, these guys come in, they have a master agreement between two parties. They just clear everything because they just collect fees in the meantime, and they don't give a shit about the contract. They can do sham resets, sham closeouts on positions, anything they want to do just to pay out positions. It's a fucking joke. Like I said, it's pathetic, the things that they can do. Well, the feds are now, they've been issuing these guys, actually, if you read this here, they've been issuing them warnings. Hey, you guys aren't doing proper mismanagement in the derivatives market. Like I've been saying. And if you guys get exposure to these other countries and you have commercial real estate due, people like Citigroup. I showed you guys, Citigroup, I've been telling you guys for 3, 4, 5 months now. Citigroup is just, they're living off money laundering. They're literally insolvent. And that's why they're cutting everywhere, because they don't have fucking money. And what they've been doing is they've been borrowing from the federal lending program, and I've been showing you. They borrow from there, they put it in their books, and then they sit there and count it as assets. And so they're basically doing supply chain financing with the lending program. And that they're counting as assets and say, look, we're doing good, we're making profits. No, you're not. You're living off a credit card. Well, these guys are looking over like, hey, if all this exposure happens and all these derivatives go down, are you guys properly hedged? Because I don't know if you are. And they've sent them regulatory notices. And if you read on this one, they've now sent them 3 of them. 3 of them. And they have 1 year to 6 months to correct these. Well, Citigroup's already talking. This is going to be a multi-year scale thing to fix this. So the Fed and the OCC are like, dude, 3 Fed notices sent to Citi late last year, are called matter requirement immediate intentions. They request, if you read down here, it says they have six months. Here you go. It has 6-month deadline and related to data. So like I said, they aren't hedging any of their shit, and their exposure's insanity. And they're like, dude, if you go down with how much derivatives exposure, that's what I told you guys since day one. We need to get that derivatives exposure. You want your MOASS? You want to squeeze? Okay. You go after the little guys, you squeeze them out. You want a MOASS, the thing we've talked about since day one, you cut the head off the fucking snake and you go for somebody in that derivatives market. I always said JP Morgan because you'd get the most. But as Citi's just implemented into it, they might have such a massive trigger that even that's what these guys are panicking about. They're like, holy fuck. If you guys get fucked, we are screwed. We're screwed. And if you look at how much they have in deposits, it's only $800 billion. That's not a lot. And I told you guys, 1.3 trillion is set to leave. So even if they lose $100 billion of their deposits, the Fed and everybody's freaking out. You don't have enough to fucking do this. You don't have enough. What are we gonna fucking do? And I tell you guys this all the time. What's gonna happen when that derivatives gets exploded? There's your MOASS money. Regulators have asked Citigroup for urgent changes to the way it measures default risk in trading partners with banks' own auditors. They have found a plan to improve it. Now I'm going to show you the bullshit that they're going to try and do. Late last year, they sent Citi 3 notices directing the bank to address upcoming months the way they measure default from counterparties in derivatives transaction. Like I told you guys, they kept on doing credit support indexes. Just show me you have this, but don't deposit collateral. It was a scam, and I told you that scam will come to an end. And it's coming to a fucking end, and now even they're looking over it. You're a fucking money laundering group. First, Citigroup turned money laundering into an art form, or perhaps, like I said, this is all they are. They're living off fucking money laundering. If you look back, like I talked to you about right away, they were one of the biggest reasons in the financial crisis. They got the biggest bailout in the financial crisis. They have been given the most money out of all of these things. Now, one of the things people don't understand or look at when they see Citigroup's price action, Citigroup tumbled, and I mean crashed. It went down to pennies, you guys. Citigroup went down to 99 cents a share. Okay? So they had to do a 10-to-1 reverse stock split just to get back to fucking listing requirements. And now they're up to $50. So basically, if you were holding since 2008, if you were in their bank, if you were invested in them, you're down 76% on your investment. It's like it's trading at $5 for you right now. Because everybody's looking over going, they're fucked, and they're cutting and cutting and cutting. Well, they're going to cut 30,000 more, and they're going to have to pay out all that severance again and again. Look at, you're down 76%. They live off bullshit. They live off schemes, off removing acts, off trying to lobby to get rid of this so I can work in this gray area. And the second you close that gray area, I'm fucked. And then I got to get a bailout. Here it is. This is your one. They understand the fucking bullshit going on in Citi. Like I said, I've been telling you guys, this is the thing we've needed to go off right here. This is how they've been allowing all the bullshit, the derivatives. And the derivatives are how you get a MOASS and not a short squeeze. That is how you get it. Trade and understand it back in the day. That's why when I went on his channel, I tried to explain the derivatives to him because it was that important. Nobody knows where it is. It's because the derivatives are the shadow market that they put it in. All your trillions are in the shadow market. They can't afford to pay us. Yeah, they can liquidate all those companies that owe all that fucking money. And who's going to pay you? The banks. They're going to have to get liquidated and pay out all these fucking people. Guess who else is going to have to do it? Clearinghouses, brokers. Guess what? You're going to have to fucking pay. And that's why they freaked out, because they go, fuck, we got to try and save them. That's why we got to try and save the stock market. We got to try and save this. But now they're looking for, you're going to have the fucking crash. You're going to have the crash. You're going to have them cover these shorts that were in the derivatives that were hidden, which is why I told people the meme stocks never went away. They got put in the derivatives market. They got moved to other countries. Well, guess what? The other countries are having enough of it. They're saying, fuck you. I'm going to come after you. And guess what? They're all going to have to move that exposure back over here. Well, now the feds are looking over like, well, we're going to have to actually start watching this exposure. It's too fucking high. You guys need to knock it off. Everywhere we go, you're a criminal. And you don't have the assets to back up your fucking gambling, because all the derivatives is fucking gambling. It's the banks gambling with your money. That's all it is. And if they fucking fail, they get a bailout. So what is Citi doing? This is what's fucking hilarious. They go, you better get this fucking under control now. You got to get this taken care of. So what's Citi do? CBDCs. Citi, they test tokenizations of private equity funds on Avalanche. Now listen to how funny this is. This does, Wellington managed to carry out blah, blah, blah. Hold on. Oh yeah, here you go. So here you go. So it's doing CBDCs. It joined Wellington Management, which is owned by JP Morgan, a criminal enterprise. So they joined the JP Morgan criminals, and guess what? They now make trade executions and settlement more efficient. So here's what they're trying to do. Okay, guys, we're going to do our tokenization of securities. We're going to do our tokenization fucking shit, because it's all, see, look, we're going to do it over here, and then it'll be more blah, 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 but it'll just be a CBDC. I'm sick and tired of this fucking crap with these guys. Oh, this is how we'll get to your guys' appliance. We'll make our CBDCs in time. Stupid piece of shit. God, it's just a joke. But Bezos, and this is what I'm talking about, when nobody has money. If you guys read this, if you look at this, tons of people, tons of people went out, got their Apple Provision to make Twitter videos and shit, because there was a 16-day money back guarantee, no questions asked. Everybody returned it. Everybody started returning the shit out of them. Apple's fucking went down. You have Bezos selling. And if you look here, and it talks about the economy, the person that's actually getting hit, because all these retailers, people are defaulting, nobody's buying any parts. Well, guess what? It's in the largest declines, like I just showed you. Nobody can afford anything anymore. Well, guess who's getting hurt by it the most? Amazon. So what's Bezos doing? I'm selling the fuck out of this. This is the top, because the economy's at a breaking point. I'm going to start making less profits, and I can't keep cooking the fucking books like everybody else is doing forever. And when people get a hold of us cooking the books and they have no money to buy our stuff, down, down, down it goes. So again, they're selling at the top. You don't believe me? Fine. Look at what the criminal senators are doing. When the criminal senators don't just sell one thing, they sell it all. That's a big clue. When Bezos sells $6 billion, and he's never wrong, the dude times it perfectly every time. Piece of shit. Now, on top of that, U.S. bankruptcies hit a 13-year peak in 2023. There was over 642 filings of bankruptcy in 2023. You guys, there was more bankruptcies last year than there was when COVID started. But they don't want to tell you that. There was more bankruptcies than when COVID hit. So guess what? There's going to be more this year, and there's more layoffs this year. So, like I said, more of these office buildings are going to be more and more and more vacant. This wealth gap right here, this chart is going to get more and more and more of a gap. It's not sustainable, because the rich don't pay taxes. So the government can't keep spending, because nobody's paying for it to make up for it. Now, one of the things I wanted to show everybody, because I wanted everybody to be aware of this, this is called operational shorting. Now, I looked at the fucking, god damn it, why am I blanking? The threshold list. Got it. Of course, I just had to hit that. I looked at the threshold list yesterday, and I thought it was kind of interesting, because if you look at it, what is it? ETFs, index, ETF, ETF, index, ETF, 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 ETF. Huh. See, kind of interesting that they're just fucking doing nothing but failure to delivers on ETFs. Well, I want you guys to be aware of something. It's called operational shorting, and this is why they made the meme stock thing right away. Because the second you get the ETFs, you can do this naked shorting. You can do all these things, and it's a fucking joke. So if you want to read this report, I'm going to go ahead and post it in the chart there. Very, very, very interesting read. Came out in 2016. So this talks about, sorry, the way that these market makers actually, so it's called operational shorting. Market makers, often commercial banks or hedge funds, create ETFs for their issuers buying the securities that the funds are supposed to represent. But they discovered they can make a predictable return by delaying the purchases and selling you non-existent exchange-rated fund shares that they will create later. These transactions, a form of shorting, eventually may involve 50,000 shares. The amount typically in a creation unit. Now, this goes on and talks about what a creation unit is. If you like to do DD and learn, read this article. It is very, very informative. Now, if you look over at this chart, I wanted to show you guys this. Here's another report here on operational shorting and market makers. Now, one of the things it talks about with ETFs, and everybody did make the fucking meme stock one right away. What can an authorized participant do when faced with excess buying? Well, pressures for the ETF shares, the APA has two choices. They can sell shares from its inventory or locate the shares in the secondary market and deliver T+3. Or, if you're a market maker, sell shares naked and then locate or create the shares at a later time up to T+6 for bona fide market making. Now read this. The second choice, because it talks about the benefits of both, and then like hey, here's the benefits and risks. The second choice can be locked in as profit. So if you sell shares naked and then locate later, it can be locked in as profit if a future option hedge is used, but with less capital outlay. So it's safer to make a naked share and sell it, and you get a higher return if you make a naked share as a bona fide market maker in an ETF. So why are they shorting, and why is there so many FTDs and ETFs? Because market makers are naked shorting ETFs. And they use the fucking share inside the ETF as a short. It's a joke. And boom, guess what? There you go. Lower the price, lower the price, lower the price. ETFs, they're nothing more than a market maker tool to get what they call operational shorting involved. This was done from the University of Virginia. This was a report, like I said. Look at this stuff, guys. This shit is... Don't just retain my word all the time. This tells you exactly how and what they do. I showed you that first report. You know, I showed everybody the iceberg report years ago. That was when I had it pinned to my account, and of course it got removed, and now I can't find my fucking tweet. I think they just deleted that tweet, to be honest with you. So, the iceberg, like I said, if you don't know about that, I'll post that again, but... That's what I'm saying, guys. All of this shit is coming to an end. When you're doing this, that means you're running out of liquidity everywhere. You're having to create it everywhere. It's non-existent. We're not buying anymore. Retail's finally running out of cash. I'm not saying we're not buying. No, you're saying no one's buying AMC and everyone's stopped. No, I'm saying AMC, people are buying, they're picking and choosing certain things, and they're sticking to that. And that alone, and they're not putting that much in. So now the market makers need to create that liquidity in those sectors and areas because it's just not there. But yet they keep on stealing and trading. You know, those efficient markets. That's such a fucking joke. So, like I said, guys, all of this is coming to an end. Everything is going exactly how I wanted it to go. Literally how I wanted it to go for a MOASS. And I told you guys right away. And it's exactly like they said in The Big Short. It's going to suck. I told you, if we're talking a real MOASS, people are going to lose. You guys, apes will win. People will win. As he says, just don't fucking dance. A lot of people, for us to MOASS, are going to get smashed. I mean smashed. So, everything is coming the way we want it to go. But, like I said, it's been so fucked up that this shit's just stupid. But you weren't wrong. None of us were wrong. Might have been early. You might have caught them and they found a way to get around it with what they like to call gray areas. You know, they might have created a couple more gray areas, but all they did by creating those more gray areas was create a bigger bubble in every single sector to the point where now either your retail is going to not be able to afford anything and they're going to start asking questions right in the street, stealing because they're fucking hungry even though they have 2 jobs, but they still can't afford to live in their house. You're going to have people defaulting. You're going to have people not giving a shit because they already said, I'm never going to own a house anyways. Why do I care if I default on my credit cards? You have defeated people. But I still feel Citigroup's going to be the one to go down, everybody. Does anyone have any questions at all? Sorry, the wife just got home. So I'm going to go, though. I didn't see any questions at all. I will go live again here this weekend for sure. So if anyone has any questions that I didn't get to, make sure I'll ask questions first in the beginning next time. But I still have a lot to go over that I skipped over. But like I said, guys, it's coming to an end for these guys. That's why they're freaking out about the end game rules, and that's why they're trying to sue the Fed, because they don't want those end game rules to go into effect. Because if they have to have 30% held in reserve, Citigroup alone. Again, those endgame rules will kill Citigroup. Citigroup is the one I'm watching. Thank you guys. Have a good day.